What's up, people? We're Haunted Smoke and Mirrors. Welcome to our podcast, episode 3. I just also all need to tell you that I had a lovely dream last night where all my absolutely demolished a school. It was a good time. He was like got possessed by something. His eyes were like glowing anime purple, and he was just like plowing through walls and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody was scared because the like power went out because he like took the power out.
I mean, I would be scared if possessed All Might was like rampaging through
Oh,
a
school.
school.
Yeah, I was in school.
We didn't have
Apparently, it was
James.
My Hero Academia type school, but he was evil. He had purple eyes. That's how you could tell
Mm.
purple. And
I like purple.
yeah, but usually it's used as a form of evil in cartoons.
I think that's stupid.
It's true. Purple and green.
Yeah.
Evil. Evil. So,
But Deku's kind of like green. He's not evil.
yeah.
Snoopy is green. She's not evil.
Yeah. That's why it's usually purple. Because I've had fights with people about this before and they're like, green is evil, and I'm like, no, it's purple.
This is just going to be us now talking about anime. I mean, I feel like that's usually just what it
It's
is.
not just anime, it's everything.
Yeah.
So like Disney, what was that lady with the like?
Maleficent.
I like how you know exactly what I'm talking about when I just point at the space
I
above
knew
my
what you were
head.
going to say before. I knew that you were thinking of
She's purple.
Maleficent before you even
Yeah, I've been
went like
telling you
that.
about it telepathically for the last like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know, we're psychic mediums and we like to talk about all things paranormal, mediumship, and metaphysical. And today we are talking about how everyone is a psychic medium because a lot of people think that you have to be born with mediumship gifts or abilities.
Yeah.
And this was kind of prompted by a lot of people coming on our comments and being like, I'm a medium, so I know you guys are faking it. And I'm just sitting there like, well, yeah, everyone is a medium. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
we get a lot of comments, like Em said, of people being like, "Well, I'm a medium, and I don't think you're special." And we're like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, we don't think we're
we don't think we're
special.
special.
We just think we're just two random fucking people
Yeah.
who are like, yeah, we'll post our journey on the internet. That is literally all we
Hmm.
are. That's all we do."
Yeah, because a lot of people put a lot of stigma on like, you are gifted and you have these like supernatural gifts that no one else has that you have to be born with. And it's like always bothered me because like when I was in college, I was friends with a couple mediums, which I guess is like weird. I don't
Well,
know.
I don't know any mediums until you.
And one of my friends was like, I like get that you guys think that you're mediums or whatever, and like that's fine. I'm not here to like invalidate you or whatever, but it's just like the thing that bothers me about mediumship is that you have to be born with it. You can't just like develop it over time. So that's what makes me feel like mediumship isn't real. And when he said that to me, I was like, that's valid.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I didn't think everyone was
Hmm.
a medium, anyways, you
Yeah.
know? Because I don't know, to me, it doesn't make sense that only a few people have to be born with this paranormal gift. And when you're a child, you like see dead people like walking around.
Yeah, well, it's always just been weird to me because it's like the whole like you have to be born with it. It's always like, oh, the women in the family are the ones who like,
Really?
yeah, like
Yeah,
because
it's
I
another
mean,
stereotype, right?
growing up, like, because like I've obviously had like experiences and things since I was like young, but was never classified as like a medium or
Hmm.
anything like that. But every time I would, like, talk to my mom about, like, experiences, it was always like, "Oh, yeah, like, all the women in our family, like, have, like, a little bit of, like, a gift when it comes to that stuff." So, like, it was very much always and I've heard other people say that too, is like, "Oh, like, my mom and grandma and, like, her grandma are all, like,
Yeah, people say
mediums."
mediumship is like genetic, but
Yeah, but it's always just weird that it's only ever, like, talked
for
about from,
women,
like, the women because I'm
well,
like,
that's interesting.
yeah.
Because like the friend from college, um, she would talk about how she got it from her dad.
Mm. Yeah, I've only ever heard about it talked through the lens of, like, it's like the women in the family pass it along.
Yeah, well, it's a stereotype with mediumship that,
Yeah,
for the most part,
it's women.
women are more emotionally connected or whatever, and that makes them more intuitive. It's even
Mhm.
like shown through like tarot cards and stuff. When you have feminine tarot
Mhm.
cards, the feminine tarot cards are intuitive.
Yeah.
They have intuitive strengths or abilities.
Yeah.
So it's less common for men to quote unquote be mediums, which is not true.
Yeah, because I don't know, like, just the gendered aspect of, like, mediumship and spirituality is always so weird to me. Sorry, I
Hmm.
know this is kind of, like, not necessarily, like, everyone's a medium, but it's just, like, I don't know, I'm
Well,
non-binary, so, like, the, like, this hyper gendered isms of, like, spirituality just don't make sense. Because
yeah.
like, Hades, yeah, he's, like, m masculine and man, but he's a deity, like,
Hmm.
gender does like, we view gender that way.
Yeah.
Gender is it's a societal construct, like, people like, animals don't really view gender the same way,
Yeah.
and people are gonna bring up, like, lions and shit, but if you, like, actually do research, like, gender roles are, like, made up.
Well, yeah. Because, like, with animals, when you, like, psychically talk to animals, half of the time, they don't know what their gender is.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll talk to a very, like, male-presenting female cat.
Mhm.
So it's hard to be like, "Oh, you are a boy cat," and you tell the owner, and they're like, "No, they're not."
You're like, "Oh."
And then you're like, "Oh, well, then they have, like, more masculine characteristics.
Mhm.
They act more boyish." And they're like, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah. I don't know. I just it's always just weird to me when it's like, "The women in my family, we're all mediums, you're not." I'm like, how do you know? Because I don't understand how people, like other mediums can come on and invalidate our mediumship while trying to validate their own, because if
Yeah,
they're invalidating our mediumship, to me, they're inherently invalidating their own.
yeah,
Like, there have been several mediums who there's, like, a specific medium that I'm thinking of, and I think you know who it is, I'm not gonna say names, but who, like, made comments on, like, some of the, like, hate towards us being like, I knew they weren't mediums," and I'm
yeah,
like, "Girl, I believe you're a medium,
yeah,
but you're also preaching to people who don't believe in mediums that you're a medium,
yeah.
and you because
It's
you're a medium, you know
confusing.
we're not." Like,
Yeah,
we're on the same side here.
mhm.
Like
Yeah, I don't know. For the longest time, I didn't think that everyone was mediums because in mainstream media surrounding this niche, people talk about, "Oh, I was born with a gift. I saw, like, literal dead people spirits walking around, like, people without faces, like, all these scary things," and, mediumship is always, like, portrayed as this, like, scary gift that you
mhm,
have that you're, like, cursed with or whatever.
yeah,
And then I started my first business and I started doing tarot readings, and I was like, "So, when I do tarot readings, I feel like there's someone sitting across from me, and they're telling me things that aren't, like, a part of the card meanings. What do you think that is?" And they were like, "Oh, you're probably talking to, like, people's spirit guides or, like, spirits around them." I'm like, "Okay," and that's, like, a normal thing to happen when you read tarot, and they're like, "No," and I was like, "So I'm still a psychic, right?" And they're like, "No, you're talking to souls, you're a medium," and I'm like, "What?" Because you had a lot of very obvious, like,
yeah.
mediumship experiences when you were a child. I did
Yeah,
not.
because also I should preface, this is the second time we're filming this podcast,
Yeah.
so I can't remember what if I so I did I talk was I talking about it in the last time we tried filming this one?
What?
My experiences?
Yeah, but you also just mentioned them.
Well, I mentioned some of them, but I know I went into, like, detail with the
You
stories.
did.
The reason we are refilming it is, 1, I'm an idiot, and, my laptop charger is, like, stupid, so you have to, like, shove it in to get it to charge, so my laptop died, like, in the middle of recording it,
That was a good time.
so we're refilming it. So
Yeah.
I just can't remember what if
Well,
I
you haven't said any of your experiences
s
yet.
yeah. Well, I couldn't also remember if I talked about it in the "We Don't Prove Ghosts Exist" video, like, podcast episode 2, or I can't
No.
remember, so, anyways, I'll tell you my
Okay.
experiences now that I've, like, baited you with
Deciphered
it.
if you talked about them or
Yeah.
not.
But I don't know, I, like, grew up I don't know, if you ask my mom, she'll tell you that from the time I was, like, a ch literally, like, a baby, like, sitting in my high chair, I would talk to, like, my great uncle David,
Mhm.
who, like, died, like, I think when my mom was young even. Like, I don't know if my mom had, like, a super close relationship with him even.
Got
So,
you.
like, I never
So
knew him, and they would be like, "Who are you talking to?" And I'd be like, "Uncle David." Didn't know who that was. I was, like, 3 years old, 2,
yeah.
3 years old.
Mhm.
Um, and when we I used to, like I lived in a condo, and then we moved into, like, what I consider my childhood home because I spent pretty much
Yeah.
everywhere there, but I was, like I think I was, like, 4 years old when we moved into my childhood home, and I
Mhm.
remember, like, going to the house because we were, like, going to look at it before, like, my grandparents bought it because we lived with my grandparents. Um, and I remember seeing the family sitting in the living room on a couch watching TV,
Yeah.
and, like, it was literally, like, the parents were sitting, like, on the couch, and, like, their, like, 2, 3 kids were sitting, and they were, like, blonde, like, I could describe them.
Mhm.
And then, like, a few years later, or when I got older and I told my mom, like, "Yeah, I always thought it was weird that when we went to see the house, like, there were people just, like, sitting there watching TV," and she was like, "No, there was no one there, like, I think you'd have, like, an active imagination, like, that didn't happen. Like, the house was empty, there wasn't furniture in there," and I was like, "I" so I was just like, "Oh, maybe that was just, like, me misremembering because I was 4 years old."
Was your house, like, super old?
No, I think it was I don't know when it was built, but it wasn't, like, an old house.
Interesting.
I don't know, cause we probably moved in there in, like, the early 2000s.
Was it built in the 70s?
I don't think so, I can ask my mom.
I have no idea.
I'll ask my
I'm just
I'll text
wondering
my
why
mom
there
and
were
ask her.
people in the house, like, if they were associated to you or, like, the people that owned them before
Do
you.
you know when the Utah house was built?
Question mark.
My mom's gonna be like, "Why?" I'm like, "I'm doing a podcast
I was
about
like, the
it."
70s wouldn't be that far off if you think about it because, like, I don't know, I've lived in houses that were built in, like, the 50s, so, like,
Yeah, I don't know,
you
cause
know.
like, I mean, we moved in so if I was 4, we probably moved in, like, 2000 2001, 2002, we moved into
Mhm.
the house.
Got you.
That house, which is why I consider it, like, my childhood home because I lived in it
Yeah,
for most of my life,
yeah.
but
So, the house wouldn't technically be that old if it was from
no.
the 70s.
Yeah,
I don't know why
but
the
I don't know who
70s
those
would.
people are, but I remember seeing them,
Yeah,
and
but they
then
weren't actually there.
yeah, and then when my great-grandma, passed away, the day because she had breast cancer,
Mhm,
so there was, like, the Monday morning that she ended up passing away, I was, like, w leaving my house to go to school because I carpooled with the neighbors across the street to school. And I was, like, leaving the house, and I, like, said to myself, like, "Grandma's gonna die today, like, I don't" and she died
mhm,
while I was at school.
yeah,
And then when I came home, um, like, my house was, like, full of people,
yeah,
and so I like, family and, like, I knew that they were family, but, like, I just didn't know them, so, like, again, a couple years later, I talked to my mom, like, "Yeah, like, I still don't know who all those people were, like, they never, like, came back around." Um, my mom says that she thinks it's the 90s it was built in the 90s.
interesting.
Yeah, like, it wasn't an
Like,
old
I don't know
house.
who those people were.
Yeah, it wasn't an old I don't
'Cause
know.
that's why I was asking. Because 'cause I'm like,
I
was
don't
it
know if
built
that's
in the
I don't know if
70s?
that's
Like, were
people
there
who lived there
people?
before or I don't know.
Yeah, like, I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Interesting.
But when I told my mom, like, "Oh, yeah, like, there were all those people when grandma died," she's like, "No, it was just the 4 of us. It was just you, me, Nan, and Papa, like, there was no one else there." And I was like, "But I
Oh,
remember there being, like, 20, 30 people in our house, like, it
yeah.
was, like, full."
Mhm. No,
No, didn't
never
happen.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So then it was just very much like,
yeah.
oh, like, I don't it was always just like, you just have, like, an imagination, like,
Mhm.
or you're just misremembering things, like,
Yeah,
it was like, "Oh, you're remembering, like, the people who showed up to the funeral," and I was like, "Well, no, because I remember the funeral happened at church."
yeah.
But also, I grew up Mormon, so, like, that kind of stuff was, like, somewhat taboo, like
Well, yeah.
and
Mhm.
my
The
grandma
mediumship stuff.
yeah, I need to ask my grandma about her experiences because apparently, like, she was, like, spiritual or something at one point,
But
and
doesn't
then
she also think it's, like, scary, you shouldn't do it?
well, I think according to my mom, something happened that triggered my grandma
Oh,
to become
to
afraid of
be
it.
scared of it.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I don't know what happened,
Got you.
but I
Interesting.
want to know 'cause, if I remember correctly, my mom would talk about how, like, yeah, like, my grandma used to, like, love stuff like that, and then, like,
Weird. Maybe that's why she likes our content.
I don't know.
She's seen our content, and we
She's
were just
watched us cook,
yeah, mhm.
but I don't think she's watched us, like, go ghost hunting or anything like that. I don't know.
It's fine, it's
But
fine.
that's besides the point.
Yeah, that was not my experience whatsoever. It was normal. It was normal. I was friends with a lot of mediums for
That's so
whatever
weird to me.
fucking reason. I just like attract them.
I
And when
just
I was a child, I watched all of the medium shows.
which I watched a lot of the, like, paranormal shows, but never the medium
I watched
shows.
the medium shows because like I've never watched Ghost Hunters or Ghost
I
Adventures.
watched some Ghost Adventures,
I
but
watched like a haunting. There was this
I think I
medium
watched A
show. I
Haunting.
forget what this medium show was called, but there was this woman. It was the same woman every single time. She would go to a place and like scout it out. They would take all the pictures and stuff off the walls, and she would go in there and be like, "This is who is here. This is what's going on." And then afterwards, she would describe to like one of those people that draws like witnesses, like draws like
Mhm, like, sketch artists.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a witness sketch artist or
Mhm,
whatever. She would go to them and she would describe what the spirits look like and they would draw them. And then she would go back and cleanse if there was like scary things living in
mhm,
the house with them. And I would watch shows like that. So I would find friends for whatever fucking reason that were all mediums and they would just like describe the fucking craziest things to me and they're like, yeah, there was this one time where, like, I was in this bedroom and I saw this, like, dark thing with a red face, like, run at me in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Have you thought that maybe you're a medium?" And she was like, "What?" That sort of thing happens to me apparently fucking a
yeah, I
lot.
don't know, like, those types of stories of, like, seeing things, like,
Yeah,
entire life, I was just always like, "Oh, I'm just thinking of it," like
yeah. So I was literally around that all the time, and they were like, "Do you know there's, like, a huge, like, 7-foot tall shadow figure standing next to you?" And I'd be like, "You mean like this?" Like, I saw nothing, like, it was not scary, I did not get it, and it
Mhm,
was not nothing. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you were probably just sensitive your whole life, and then you just, like, realize" No, the actual opposite. And the reason is because, like, the way that mediumship is portrayed in the media is you see things when you're younger.
yeah,
You see literal dead people walking around, it's literally like the Sixth Sense
mhm,
movie. And that's how people know they're a medium, and that's why people are like, "You're born with the gifts," because you saw fucking dead people walking around. Most of the people on, like, social media, the general media, like, mediums are generally classified as quote unquote clairvoyant, meaning that they see spirits, and that is how mediumship is portrayed in
mhm,
media, is that you see scary things.
yeah,
And that's why mediumship is this like horrible, scary thing. But for me, clairvoyance is not the thing that goes that it's not the thing that I rely on.
mhm,
Do I see spirits? Yes, but my brain is like, "No, you didn't.
yeah,
No, you
I feel like because so much of,
didn't."
like, what happened to me was, like, brushed off,
Yeah,
it made it so, like, I didn't believe it was happening, and I was like, "No," because I feel like that's why I don't necessarily trust my clairvoyance,
yeah,
'cause
because
I
I feel
don't
like yours are still, like, very prominent. Because like, when it happens to me, I just think I'm seeing things, even when I was, like, a child. Because like, there would be, like I would be in a cabin that we go on vacation, and everyone is gone, everyone left, and I would walk down the stairs, see someone standing at the counter in the kitchen, and walk to the front door, get to the front door,
uh
and I'm like, "Wait a second, I just saw
this is a
something."
side note, I didn't
"What?"
tell you. I full ass saw, like yesterday when I was taking a shower, I full ass saw, like, there was a man in the bathroom, like, who, like, walked across because, like, I saw the shadow go in front of the
"Oh, so
lights.
you didn't see him? What does he look like?"
I don't know, but okay, this is sorry, this is a side note because I get I'm ADHD, I've learned. So, I like, think about things I need to tell you, and then I forget by the time that I wanna tell you. Is this true?
"Yes?
Was he the one who was hiding all of my shit yesterday?
What do you mean hiding your shit?"
Couldn't find my comb anywhere in the bedroom, like, I tore it apart trying to find it, and then it was just magically on the floor after. Because I tried finding it before my shower
Do you
so I
know
could
what he looks like?
he has, like, dark brown hair.
Is he older?
Yeah.
Is he tall?
Yes.
And, like, stocky?
Yeah.
That is my grandfather.
Is he hiding shit from me?
He said he wanted to get your attention. I
Why?
don't know, because 'cause I'm like that's why I told you to describe him, because 'cause I'm like, "You're not seeing my grandfather right now,"
Yeah,
because that's the only thing I see from your story.
yeah.
There's my grandfather.
What one? Why is he
He looks like when he likes to appear younger, because he likes to fucking troll. He looks like the dude from Wizard of Waverly Place. What's that guy's name? The
what
tall brother with the dark hair?
Justin?
Yeah, he looks like
Yeah, but l couldn't find my comb,
yeah.
and then because we were taking, like, pictures for branding stuff, and
Mhm.
then when like, took out my jewelry, set it on the bed, turned away, turned back, my necklace was gone. Could not it took me 5 minutes, and then I was like, "Well, fine, I'm just not gonna I'll get a different necklace," turned around, it's right there. And I was
Yeah,
like,
why is he doing that?
I don't know, that's why I was
This is definitely my
'cause
grandfather,
I literally was like, "Listen, dude," like
and he's the grandfather that's like the guardian angel
yeah,
grandfather.
'cause I don't know, I was just like, "Dude, why are you hiding all my shit right now?" Like
Yeah, he wanted to get your attention, but I
like,
don't know why, and it's freaking me out.
it was freaking me out 'cause I couldn't find the comb before the shower,
Yeah.
saw the fucking while I was in the bathroom, and I was like, "I'm gonna ignore that because I'm in the shower. I'm at my most vulnerable right now, I'm not doing this." And then it happened and then I found my comb, and then it immediately happened again with my necklace, so I was like, "What the fuck?" Anyways, that was just I forgot to tell you that yesterday, so I need to tell you.
Well, now I need you to tell me why he was doing that because I'm concerned. Anyways,
Anyways.
I was talking about being on vacation in a cabin and coming down and seeing someone while I was home alone that wasn't there, and then I get to the, like, front door, and I'm like, "Wait a second, I thought I saw someone standing in the kitchen." I walk back to the kitchen, and there's no one there, and I'm like, "I'm home alone, there shouldn't be anyone here." But my brain says, "Oh, similar to how you, like, I don't know, are watching something on the TV, and then you turn it off, and you can still, like, see the impression of the person
Mhm,
on the TV." That's what my brain uses to explain when I see things. That like, "Oh, you're just used to someone standing in the kitchen, so that's why you saw something. It's not actually there." And that's the experience that I've had since I was a child of, "Oh, you're just seeing things." No
mhm,
one told me that, I just decided that it was that. Because my gifts specifically are very claircognizant, which is just thoughts.
mhm,
So, I just pick up things, like, I'm a very good judge of character.
mhm,
I'm very good at judging situations or knowing what's about to happen.
mhm.
But that's not a stereotypical, like, mediumship ability that anyone knows anything about or talks about. So, me coming into this space and being like, "Okay, I'm people keep telling me that I feel spirits across the table while I read tarot, and they're telling me that I'm a medium, so I must be able to force myself to see them, and that's gonna be how I'm a medium." And that did not happen.
Mhm.
And my spirit guides were like, "Why are you doing that? You've never actually experienced things this way. Stop doing that because your mediumship abilities are based upon the way in which you think or process information." And there's people that don't imagine things. Like they can't imagine images in their head. Like Amanda from Mackie and Amanda, she can't imagine images in her head.
Mhm.
So she sees them physically. That is why she knows she's a medium is because she can't imagine it in her head, she sees it out in front of her.
Yeah.
So, your abilities are based upon how you think in your head. So, if you're not a very visual person, then you're going to experience your gifts differently. Like, we've talked to mediums that can't imagine images or have an inner monologue in their head, they just think in clear thoughts, like they have
Yeah.
dreams and clear thoughts.
Yeah.
So, have that happen to you and you be like, you're not gonna think you're a medium ever,
Yeah.
especially with how media, like, portrays mediumship.
Yeah. Mediumship and media is very much just like clairvoyance because I
Mhm.
didn't know about any of the other clairs. I only knew about clairvoyance because that's just what
Yeah.
everyone focuses on is clairvoyance.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, there's, like, a medium, I forget what her name is, that says that she was only clairaudient, which, A, I don't believe because I've talked to her soul that's passed over. She, like, showed up to me because
Do you
every
remember her name at all?
Doris, maybe?
Dolores?
I think it might be Doris. I don't know because I know Dolores. Is she
Mm,
clairaudient?
I don't know, 'cause I know of, like, Dolores Cannon, but I don't know.
I don't know because I don't
But anyways,
remember because it might be Dolores, but I also feel like it might be Doris, which is why I'm very confused.
yeah.
Um, but I saw her because she came to me when she was in her 30s. She's blonde, and I explained this to like my other medium friends, and they're like, "This is probably this person, and she's helping you with clairaudience because that's where my abilities are stronger."
Mhm,
But like that was like new to media is oh, they just hear things, you know?
mhm,
So I don't know. I feel like most people have a combination of all six clairs based upon the way in which you are thinking.
mhm,
So unless you like are born with the inability to see and you've never experienced sight before, you probably have clairvoyance in some way, shape, or form,
yeah,
whether you imagine images or not. But there is a difference between psychic information and mediumship information.
mhm,
And mediumship information is when you are communicating with souls or someone, and psychic information is where you're just picking up energy from the environment.
mhm,
So, to explain it in like a physical sense so that you can understand it and not in the metaphysical sense, mediumship is like talking to a person. You are conversing, having a conversation, like you say something, they say something, you react to them, and so on and so forth,
mhm,
versus sitting on like a hillside and like looking and watching everything in front of you, or like even being like in a crime scene. No one's talking to you about it. You're just seeing what's
mhm,
happening, and that would be considered like psychic information that you're picking up. It's not coming from someone talking to you about it, it's just coming from the environment.
yeah,
So a lot of people think that they're just psychics and they're just picking up psychic information. So I feel like people a lot of times are conversing in their heads with spirit, but they don't realize they're not just talking to themselves, you know?
that was me for the longest time, 'cause I'm very clairaudient,
Mhm.
um, 'cause I got into witchcraft
Yeah.
and everything before, like, this side of
Mhm.
spirituality, and I started doing, like, deity work and working with Hades, um, and I would, like, talk to him and have conversations. And when I would, like, try to talk to, like, my other friends who were also, like, doing witchcraft alongside with me, because we had, like, a little bit of a coven at one point, not anymore, but, um, they were like, "Oh, no, like, you don't actually, like, talk to them, like, you make offerings, like, they're very, like they're gods, they don't have the time to, like, talk to you," and that was I found that that was very common in witchcraft of, like,
Mhm.
their deities, like, you don't get to they're not like your BFS, you don't get to talk to them
Yeah.
whenever you want, which my thought was always, well, if they're, like, gods and deities and they're, like, omnipotent, why can't they, like, be multiple places at
Yeah,
once? Why
well,
can't they, like, talk to you whenever they exist outside of time and outside of us? Why couldn't they?
yeah, I don't know, it's weird because outside of the deity thing, being like a Catholic Christian person, you can always talk to God and
Well,
Jesus.
yeah, I grew up Mormon, and it
Uh-huh.
was very much like, yeah,
So
you can always, like,
yeah.
talk and pray, so I was like, "What is
So why
like, what
can't you
is"
talk to deities?
yeah, and it was like, "Well, like, they're not here to help you with, like, your every problem." I was like,
Why? What are they supposed to be doing
"Yeah," I
then?
was like, "So, like, I'm just supposed to, like, give offerings and, like, just
For what?
worship them for"
For no reason?
yeah, I don't
So they don't smite you or some
yeah,
shit?
because like, the first time that I, like, figured out that I actually was working with Hades, 'cause I've been
Yeah.
drawn to to Hades since I was 8 years old, which is also
Mhm.
really weird for a little Mormon girl to be like, "I'm obsessed with Hades." So, like, once I, like, found out that it actually was him, like, I literally stayed up, like, all night just, like, talking to him about, like, deities and him and, like, my life experiences, being like, "Okay, so, like, did this actually happen?" Because also when my great-grandma died, like, I was in my room, like, crying, mourning, and I felt someone, like, put a hand on my shoulder, and he was like, "That was me."
Was
And I
me.
was like Holy sh so
Holy
I was having, like, a breakdown, like, I was crying talking to Hades 'cause I was like, "Holy
oh
shit,
god.
everything makes like, all of these experiences,"
Mhm.
he just exp like, all of them that I talked to you about, he just explained,
Yeah,
but I didn't think I was a medium still because
yeah.
it didn't match what other people thought mediumship was, but then,
Mhm,
like, other people who did, like, deity work were like, "That's not how deity work works, that's not what that is," so then I was like,
mhm.
"Okay."
That's ego.
So then I was like, "Maybe I'm not actually talking to him, and I'm just, like
Making it up.
and I'm just talking to myself in my head," so I was like, "Okay," like so I stopped, like, talking to him as much, but
Mhm.
still, like, worshipped him in, like, a, like, witchcraft way, but, like,
Yeah.
then I ended up falling out of witchcraft a little bit because I was like, "There's too many rules and
I think it
regulations,"
is. Yeah.
and then I found out that, like, what mediumship was, and, like, you
Mhm.
can talk to deities and
Mhm.
all these things, and I was like,
Holy
"You
shit.
bitches, I've been doing this the entire time."
Yeah, well, I don't know, the rule of thumb that I tell people of knowing the difference of when you're talking to yourself and when you're talking to a spirit is if you're getting information that you didn't already know, you're probably talking to a soul. So,
Yeah,
like, I don't know, I ask questions in my head like, "Why did they do this? Why is this happening?" And then I get the answer. Why am
mhm.
I asking the question if I already know it?
Well, I don't know,
You know?
like, because obviously I started talking to deities before I ever started, like, like, knowingly talking to spirit guides or, like,
Yeah,
souls. So,
which you were doing anyways, because most people do that.
yeah, so, like,
But
I don't but, like, knowingly
yeah.
doing it.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but, like, I don't know, I was, like, literally was doing a deity identification reading this morning,
Yeah.
and, like, the way that each of the deities talks is so different, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "None of these sound like the way I talk."
Yeah, but
Like, I was
that
talking to,
also
like, Brigid,
does
and she was talking about, like,
she
this
have an accent?
yeah. But she was also talking about how, like, this person was going through transformation, and, like, she's like, like, "People go through transformation like the seasons, they're gonna come and go," and I was like, "I don't talk this way."
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
like, I do not talk like this at all,
Yeah,
but
yeah, but depending on the way in which you think, it might be alarming for you to hear a voice in your head or to hear a
mhm,
different dialect of the way you speak. So spirits know that and they change the way they speak to make it more comfortable for you. So you might hear your own voice in your head
yeah,
that's giving you the answers. It doesn't mean you're necessarily just talking to yourself. You're probably talking to your spirit guides or deities or whoever you're
yeah,
talking to. Because I just think it's like astronomical that we think that you have to be born with it. And technically you are, but everyone is.
mhm,
Because to me, I'm like, we are a collective of people. Why do we think we are just all of a sudden now disconnected from the rest of the collective because we are living?
yeah,
So that idea that, oh, we're separated and only certain people have this gift to me is ego.
mhm,
That is just us placing ourselves in little boxes away from everything and everyone else.
yeah,
But I don't know, do you think talking to like deities and spirit guides or especially like spirit guides because they're like aspects of you, is that mediumship?
I think it is,
Because I
personally, because I don't know, when I talk to my spirit guides more, like, subconsciously, like, when I
yeah.
try to actively talk to them, my ego gets in the way, so I'm like, "Am
Yeah.
I actually"
Am
I don't
I
know, like,
making this up?
who am I talking
Am
to?
I answering? Yeah.
So, it's if I just don't think about it and do it,
Yeah.
then, like, it's very clear, but I don't know, even though they're, like, aspects of you, it's still, like, communication, they still talk in a way that isn't
Mhm.
how the way that I, like, fully think and talk.
Yeah.
Like, my spirit guide, Milo, doesn't talk or sound like me.
Mhm.
He's very
Yeah, like
separate.
Sroth.
Yeah. Like
Sroth sounds like a storm cloud.
yeah, so it's, like, very different, like, my, like, masculine blue spirit guide or even my black spirit guide, Candor, like, very, like, s they talk
They all talk
very
differently.
yeah, my black
Mhm.
spirit guide likes to be like, "My liege," and I'm like, "Stop
Ooh.
that. Shut the fuck up," and he's like and he does it because he knows
Dude,
it.
Sakuna calls me by my maladaptive daydream name.
Yeah, Richard likes to call us nicknames too, which I'm like, That's not a, like" I
I'm
wouldn't
not
think
calling myself this
yeah, I'm like, I don't call like, I would never call myself this nickname, but
at
okay.
all. I
Yeah.
wouldn't call myself a nickname regardless, but, you know, anyways. But I've been told, and especially when I started doing mediumship, and I was like, I'm talking to people's spirit guides because when you do tarot readings, you're reading a person's energy.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of psychic things that you're just picking up about them.
Yeah.
And I started talking to their spirit guides.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
it's both.
when I started doing that, I had people telling me that that wasn't mediumship because I was talking to spirit guides and not like past living, like past people that like lived and then are now past
Yeah, I don't know, I've seen a lot of people say that mediumship is, like, only talking to, like, past, like, human
relatives.
souls, but I don't know, there's, like I think that it's psychic medium I think it's, like, a bit of both.
Yeah, because I don't know. When you look up the definition of mediumship, it is communication with spirits.
Mhm.
So why is it have to be, oh, you have to be talking to this classified specific
Yeah,
type of soul in order for it to be mediumship? Because
yeah,
to me, like I said earlier, the difference is the difference between communication versus picking up the
yeah.
information.
Because I don't know, like, at least when it comes to, like, deities, like, uh, if, like, a deity tells me their names, like, for instance, like, Hades.
Mhm.
I know things about Hades. I know that he's, like, a Greek god. He deals with the underworld. Since I work with him, I know like, I just know things about him psychically,
Yeah.
but then he still
Tells you
tells me
things.
additional information.
Yeah.
Because like, I read the person I was talking about, Frigid, also works with Hades.
Mhm.
So, like, Hades stepped forward and was, like gave me, like I psychically knew, like, things about him,
Mhm.
but he was the one who bridged the gap of, like, how it relates to this person.
Yeah, because I don't know, I have a lot of, like, insecurities about it because I have literally had people tell me, "You're not a medium, you're just really good at picking up psychic information." And I'm just sitting here like, "Okay, then who is this woman that I'm talking to? Why do I feel like I'm talking to her?
Mhm,
Why is this considered psychic information?" You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
'Cause, like, for example, when I started talking to animals, it was very hard for me to pick up psychic information about animals
Yeah.
because it's something that just happens so passively. So,
I didn't think I could.
I would talk to the, like, spirit guide or soul that was around the animal to get information about the animal.
Yeah.
But I was having people telling me that I was just a psychic and not a medium. So, it was just confusing to me hearing that because 'cause I'm like, "So, because my mediumship doesn't work like your mediumship, you think that I'm not a medium because it doesn't fit your idea of it, but I'm still talking to this woman.
Yeah.
So explain how this is psychic information. I'm confused. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes me now question, am I actually like talking to people? Do I have to specifically talk to people's past relatives? Because like I don't necessarily like doing that because it's a lot of pressure,
Mhm.
especially when people are coming to you and they're like, yeah, my grandma died like 3 days ago. Can you talk to her for me? And I'm like, I just
Yeah.
met you.
Yeah.
I'm nervous, you know?
I
That's a lot of pressure.
I struggle talking to people's past loved ones in, like, readings just because it is a lot of pressure. But when we, like, go to haunted locations, there's
Much
less
easier.
it's much easier. 'Cause you and, like, they're still the same it's still, like, doing the same thing, but there's not a living person that, like,
It's
is on
gonna be impacted by
yeah, that
it.
is going to be impacted because I don't know, we've had people come into, like, our streams for readings, and I know I've talked about it before, where they're like, my brother just passed away last night, can you talk to him?" And I'm like,
I can't do that right now. You
"Yeah,
need some time to figure like process that and
yeah."
then maybe
Also,
I
this
can
is
do
my
that.
hot take. I think that a lot of people go to mediums to seek, like, help and insights for things that they need to talk to a therapist for.
Well, yeah. Mhm.
Because, like, I swear by therapy, like, I've gone through extensive therapy, like,
Yeah.
all of that, and
Mhm.
I think that while, yes, using mediumship as a way to, like, connect with your past loved ones is a great thing,
Yeah.
I don't th you also need healthy coping mechanisms to, like, mourn, and, like, some of
Mhm.
the trauma that you're going through, see a therapist for it.
Yeah, because a lot of people want you as a medium to tell them, like, what to do about
Mhm.
things, but it's like, there's only so much we can help with because we don't have the training for it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I view like spirituality, mediumship, even witchcraft as ways to like better self-reflect on myself and what's
Mhm.
going on, and then typically I take that to a
Yeah.
therapist and have
Mhm.
my therapist like,
How do I deal with
how
this?
do I deal with this
Yeah.
so it's not just in my
Yeah, because
head?
we can give you the, like, shadow work topics, but we can't do the shadow work for you.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
also I don't know, because especially in witchcraft, like the shadow work is like a big thing of like you just solve everything yourself. It's going to depend on the person, but I think everyone should go to therapy personally.
Well, yeah.
Because
I
I
feel like a
also
therapist would tell you the same thing.
yeah, I don't know, like I I don't know, like my therapist is I'm gonna brag about my therapist for a minute. She's super fucking cool. I love her. She's fantastic. Like she has like a bit of a spiritual background, but she's not the like we're gonna heal this with like crystals.
Yeah.
Because I and that's nothing against those types of people. If that works for you, that's totally fine. That is not
That's
what
just
works.
a different
That
avenue
yeah,
that's
that's
not therapy
yeah, that doesn't work for me. So it was like I could talk to her
and
about my
psychotherapy.
mediumship.
Yeah.
Like we could like I could talk about like these are things that are just going on. Like
Yeah.
I this is what I'm feeling because of this. And like we
Mhm.
would actually like work on it. I would do it with a licensed therapist.
Yeah.
I don't know, because it just bothers me because a lot of people think that like mediums take advantage of people's emotions and are
Yeah.
like preying on them. And I'm like, which is why I try to be such a clear of like, if you're struggling and you're not okay, don't book a reading with us, book an appointment with a therapist.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Because
flat out.
again, if you put money aspect on something vulnerable, people think that you're taking advantage of someone. But
Yeah.
it's like, we are not forcing you to do that. This is like to give you closure. It's not to like fix your emotions or do things associated to like that sort of avenue.
Yeah.
These are just, here's what's going on, then go to a therapist and then evaluate those types of things.
Yeah. Because especially when it comes to like trauma based things, like, yeah, like we can give you readings and your spirit guides or tarot cards or charms or whatever can like tell us things about what's going on. But that's just going to be like these are the issues.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you to
Y-
do about them
Yeah,
because I'm not a licensed therapist. So I
yeah.
don't know how to help you heal them.
It's the
They could
same with
just,
like health issues.
yeah,
Like I might feel what's going on or like
yeah, I'm not a
know,
doctor.
but you should go get that checked out.
Yeah,
Like don't.
yeah, because we have a lot of people ask about that sort of thing too.
Mhm.
So we have to be like, I'm not a doctor. This is what they make me feel is going on with your body. But also, I'm not a doctor. I'm not entirely sure what that's like. They're not telling me it's this. I'm telling you that I have some weird, like I had someone that had like spinal issues,
Mhm.
and they were like, the one side that like holds my spine in place is like going away. And I was like, oh, well, that's why I feel pressure on one side of my body. Did I know that before they told me?
Yeah.
No, I was just like, "I feel like weird pressure on one side of my back." Then they explained it to me
Yeah.
because I know nothing about physical health.
Yeah, which I don't know, it just goes into, like, misconceptions about mediumship, which I
Mhm.
know we wanna do an entire podcast about that,
Yeah.
but it just I don't know. It's always just confusing when, like, mediums try to go to people who don't believe in mediums to invalidate other mediums while trying to validate themselves,
Yeah.
or people who, like, don't believe in mediums trying to be like, "Prove that this is, like" prove that you're a medium by,
Yeah.
like, telling me what's, like, written on this side of my hand, and you're like, "That's not how that works." "Oh, so you're fake then." It's like
Yeah, a lot of people think that mediums just know everything, and that's not actually how that works because we are the information that we get is dictated by spirit itself.
mhm,
So, we can't know everything because if we knew everything, why would we be alive and existing this human existence?
yeah.
We
Also
literally incarnated and forgot the plan, so why would we just all of a sudden remember
mhm,
it?
I don't know. I know this is still kind of on the, like, mediumship isn't what it seems, but there are also times where, like, we get more information than what we, like,
Say.
say
Mhm.
because we feel like we have our own filters for things, like
Mhm.
because like, I know that, like, you have things where, like, you don't want spirit to tell you certain, like, types of
Yeah.
things. I want to get all of it to validate,
Yeah, like, I
But
don't wanna know about, like, medical things. I don't
yeah,
wanna know how it's, like, going to impact your life negatively.
yeah,
It's not something I'm gonna tell you. I'm
yeah,
not gonna tell you when you're gonna die type BS.
yeah. Like, sometimes I will get that information, but I don't
No,
ever
sometimes I do too.
but I
I'm not
don't
gonna share
yeah,
it
I
either.
don't share that
Yeah.
because, 1, we can also be wrong,
Mhm.
so that could be damaging,
Yeah,
and 2,
no one needs to know that.
yeah, you
No one needs to know that.
yeah, so because I don't know, there's in the, like, readings that we did for Mackie and Amanda,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people who were talking about how they're, like the readings were, like, too general, and, like, if you, like, watch like, we just watched all of their videos and, like, know these things
Yeah.
about them, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah, a lot of it got cut out, number 1. The
Yeah,
stuff that was, like, very, like, in-depth personal got cut out.
yeah,
Because it's not safe to be on the internet.
yeah, and there are just some private things that
They don't want people
yeah,
to know,
which is very
which is
valid. There's
fine.
things I don't want people to know.
But at the same time, I don't know, I also don't think it was that general because I don't think that everyone experiences certain things in that way. Number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, we didn't watch all of their videos,
I
like,
watched maybe, like, 5 of their videos
which
total.
I know people can invalidate that and be like, "Well, how do you prove it?" You can't prove it.
Yeah, you
But,
can
like, I try not to watch investigations solely because we do reaction videos
yeah,
to them.
we truly, we only watch other
Yeah,
people's investigation videos or their videos on their
yeah.
channel if we're reacting to them.
So I try not to because, again, if I were to watch them and then watch them again, the reaction isn't as good. Content is much better when you are actually
Yeah,
reacting to it for the first time.
yeah,
So,
which yeah, like you said, there's always gonna be people who
there's gonna
try
be
to
people that are like, "Nah."
invalidate that, who say that, like, we pre-watched, which whatever.
Yeah, it's just that's why I don't watch everyone's, like, investigation videos is because we make videos about them,
Yeah,
and reacting is, like,
yeah.
first time is
Also,
gold.
I'm sorry, we don't have the fucking time
Well,
to
yeah.
watch, like, extra videos,
Yeah,
like, we watch maybe 2 episodes of anime a night,
yeah,
and that's just while
so
we're eating,
mhm,
but, like, we're running
we're
multiple
busy.
businesses, like, we don't really watch anything,
Yeah,
but
but
that's a whole other tangent.
I don't know, it's just other, like, reasons why people, like, try to explain away why they aren't mediums and stuff like that. 'Cause I don't know, I feel like everyone is a medium, but you are blocked by ego.
Mhm,
So, like, people like to say, "Oh, when you're a child, a lot of times children experience a lot of, like,
'cause
weird
they don't have
paranormal shit
ego.
because they don't have ego."
Yeah,
What changed? You just have people telling you that it's not real. So,
yeah,
like, why aren't you a medium anymore
yeah, 'cause
than when you were younger seeing ghosts, like, walking into your
yeah,
room?
like, I saw plenty when I was a kid, and
Yeah,
it got
I did not.
brushed off,
But
so I don't know. But yeah, I think everyone is a medium, which is why, like, our community, like, practices and is full of, like, mediums because we just try to help people realize
yeah,
how they are mediums themselves
I
and
don't
make
know.
things make sense.
It's like, people say you're either a natural born singer or you're made a singer. So if you wanted to become a singer and you weren't born with this like amazing voice, just like you came out of the womb singing like godly or whatever,
Mhm.
you still can learn how
To
to
sing.
sing well.
Mhm.
It's the same thing with mediumship. You may be born naturally gifted with it, or you may have
To
more.
put in more
Mhm.
practice to, like yeah.
It's very much about removing ego and figuring out where that's happening
Mhm.
because that's the thing that is the issue. So a lot of times when you are trying to develop your mediumship abilities, the easiest way to do it, which most people don't realize, is working on your own mental health.
Mhm.
Because the more you bring light to yourself, the more you'll realize how connected you are to everything and everyone. Because again, we're collective energy.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's weird that people say good and evil are a thing. It's not like that because good things are a part of you. Evil things are also a part of you because there's
Yeah.
no separation.
Yeah. You like, light and dark.
Yeah, there's no
Like
separation is an illusion.
yeah, light creates shadow.
So you need both of them to understand yourself. And once you start understanding yourself and accepting yourself more, you start opening up more mediumship stuff, which is why people are like, I went through a spiritual awakening,
Yeah.
which spiritual awakenings are like big chapter changes in your life where you go
Mhm.
through a lot of emotional change and then you start seeing spirits.
Yeah, because I don't know, I feel like that's why, because like, I've been doing, like, mediumship, like, outright for, like, a year and a half now, and when
Hmm.
I tell people that, they're like, "What?" But I don't know, I wasn't
Hmm.
completely closed off.
Yeah.
Like, I had tarot decks, like, I read tarot, I, like, was, like, spiritual, so it was, like, a natural thing, but then it was just I learned that the way that how I
Hmm.
think was my mediumship, so that clicked into place, and then I just,
Yeah. It's just a
like
natural thing that happens. It's natural
yeah,
instinct because you've been doing it as a soul your whole life.
yeah, and so, like, obviously, I know that I kind of jumped into the, like, public space
Yeah.
somewhat, like, quickly
Fast.
with all of that, but I was, like, very much, like, heads down, just, like, working on and figuring
Hmm.
out, like, myself, like, how my mediumship related to me, how I think, like, I was going to
Yeah.
therapy, like, I was, like, working on healing all of the shit within me, and the more I did,
Hmm.
the easier it got to do all
Hmm.
those things.
And it's weird how that happens
Yeah,
because that's you're literally just connecting yourself back to the collective energy of being like, this is who I am and that's okay.
yeah,
And that's how you fit into the
because
puzzle of everything.
our mediumship works pretty
Mhm.
similarly, so, like, I learned a lot of, like, how my brain works and how my mediumships works through you,
Yeah.
but you didn't, like, hold my hand and
No.
was like, "This is how it was." Like,
I
I very
basically was
much
like, it's not just seeing things.
yeah, you're very clairsentient. And I
Yeah.
went, "Oh, shit." And then I just went away to my little corner
Mhm.
and figured it out.
Yeah,
Because I
cuz
know a lot of people ask, like, "Well, how can I improve so quickly?" And I'm like
just
and
accept yourself
you
for
have
who
to
it is.
accept that it's happening, which is
Yeah.
very hard. Like,
Yeah.
I still struggle with that, so but this is maybe kind of harsh, but I'm gonna say it. You have to actually, like, do the work yourself.
Mhm.
Because obviously, there are plenty of, like, channels and things that will teach you mediumship,
Yeah.
but you have to, like, put it into practice and,
Yeah.
like
The better the medium you are, the more emotionally connected you are with yourself.
mhm.
And that's something that a lot of people don't realize go hand in hand
Yeah,
until you start doing it. Because that's why when people go through these big life changes that are strictly emotional, now they start studying spirits and
mhm.
start knowing things
Yeah,
because you're working on yourself because you were forced to.
yeah, I went through a, like, really gross breakup, like,
Mhm.
almost 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and was just like or, like, 2, 3 years ago, and was like, "I'm gonna just, like, focus on I'm gonna, like, work on healing myself." Like,
Yeah.
was doing, like, weekly therapy, was very much just, like, just taking care of myself
Mhm.
and dealing with, like, all of my emotions and everything, and then it started just
Snowballing.
snowballing from there, and now
Yeah.
I make podcasts
I moved
about mediumship.
I moved into this house, figured out I was autistic, and then started hearing Rosaline's voice in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Mhm.
figured out I was autistic and ADHD, and then
They figured out that you were
yeah,
ADHD because of
yeah. So I was
I'm
like,
like,
"I
did
don't think
you
I am," and you're like, "No, you are."
I was like, "Did you know that ADHD and autism like to go together
Yeah, you're like, "They're
sometimes?"
comorbidities."
Yeah, and they're very much different. 'Cause a lot of people think they're the same, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
everyone's a medium. You just gotta figure out how it works for you and then
Yeah, but it's
do good.
also interesting because we started this off with, like, mediumship being genetic, and we're talking about ADHD and autism. A lot of times people that are ADHD or have other neurodivergencies tend to be more naturally gifted as
Mhm.
mediums because they already think in a non-typical way.
Yeah.
So that's like when I figured that out, immediately I was like, oh, well, this is why people are quote unquote born mediums and why it's genetic because neurodivergencies is genetic. And the way in which people are thinking when they are neurodivergent is different than the typical.
Mhm.
Hence, a lot of people that are like autistic and nonverbal will see spirits, and people just like, I don't know, like weird, like infantilize them type weird
Mhm.
BS and say, oh, they're so sweet, they're so cute, like all of that sort of stuff. But it's like there's a lot of correlations to neurodivergency and like seeing souls.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just easier. They're more naturally have an affiliation for it because they're less likely to create ego surrounding it.
Mhm.
So that's another podcast as well. But I feel like that's why people think that it's like genetic is because neurodivergency is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that someone that is neurotypical or realistic is not able to strengthen their mediumship. They just need to be able to change the way that they're thinking about
Mhm.
things and stop separating and um like remove ego from things.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
Do you have anything else? No,
No,
I
I
think
think I've talked my mouth
yeah.
off. So,
I could, like, keep rambling, but it's not gonna be about everyone's a medium, so I think we're just
if you guys are interested in topics like this, let us know. Also, if you already think that you're a medium, let us know down in the comments what you're like, how your gifts work and stuff like that. We also have a like Patreon community where we help you figure out your gifts and all of the things like that. We have something we call Mediumship
mediumship circle.
Circle
Yeah, we have one, if you're watching or listening to this on
this Thursday,
this
the
current
day it came
Thursday,
out.
the day that this comes out,
Mhm.
we have a mediumship circle tomorrow on Friday
Yeah,
that is where
clairsentience,
we're gonna talk about
which is
clairsentience.
psychic feeling.
So, yeah, we're going through all of the clairs one by one and talking about, like, how they work, how they might apply to you, and then you get to
Yeah,
talk to other people
you can
and
practice
practice
readings.
reading with those different clairs to see how they work.
Yeah, so it'll help you guys open up your mediumship and figure out how you think, figure out how your mediumship can work and stuff like that. So if you didn't think that everyone is a medium or think that you actually do have psychic abilities, everyone does. And if you want to dive into that, we also have a huge community that will help validate like stories for you on Discord. So
Yeah,
joining our Patreon will help in that sort of area because we have a lot of people asking us about like, can you mentor us? And that's like a lot of work.
yeah, and a lot of
So
pressure.
we offer a community and we offer a like group session once a month where we help you to dive into your own
Mhm.
mediumship abilities. So again, if you guys are interested in that, that will be linked down in the show notes. So all of that will be there. We also offer like private readings where we go into spiritual gifts and
Yeah.
guides and we'll
Mhm.
talk to you about that because sometimes just hearing how your gifts work or hearing about a spirit guide will help you
Helps.
realize it's happening.
Yeah. Same with the deity readings.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
we
cause
do deity
you
readings, and it's very similar to a spirit guide, but
mhm.
from
Yeah,
just
cause you
based on deity.
realized your mediumship with Hades.
Yeah, I realized my mediumship with deities
Mhm.
before spirit guides.
Yeah, so these types of readings might help you to realize things about yourself and help give you, like, a starting point as well, and that stuff will be down in the description too. But if you guys are interested in this type of content, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you guys in the next one. Also, follow if you're on other podcasting softwares and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. But we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.